أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, once again I greet you with the greeting word of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We intend, with the help of Allah Ta'ala, to talk on a series of Islamic mode of financing in a simple, clear and summarized manner for the benefit of our brothers and sisters globally, especially those who are living in the non-Islamic countries. A brother in a Western country asked the following question. He wants to buy a house through Islamic Bank or Islamic financial institution, so that the bank buys the house from a third party for cash, then sells the house to the brother with profits to be paid on installment basis, means to be paid on monthly basis. So the brother is asking if this transaction is acceptable from the Sharia perspective. The answer is yes. As he described, this is acceptable from the Sharia perspective, provided certain conditions are met. So what the brother asked is one of the most common modes of finance used by Islamic banks, and it's called Murabahah. So what is Murabahah? Murabahah, in a very simple definition, is cost plus profit transaction. Cost plus profit transaction. So Murabahah refers to a sale where the seller discloses the actual cost, the actual amount of the, let's say, house or commodity or car, etc., and the profit amount charged. So this is Murabahah. Murabahah is cost plus profit, and it refers to a sale where the seller discloses the actual cost, actual amount, actual principal of the commodity or house or car, etc., and the profit amount charged. Let me give you an example, my brothers and sisters in Islam. Let's say I want to sell you a car. As per the Murabahah transaction arrangement and the Sharia requirements, I have to disclose, I'm obliged to disclose, to tell you the actual cost that that car or the house cost me. Means I have to tell you my principal. I have to let you know, I'm obliged to let you know how much really the house cost me, my principal, and the profits that I want from that. Let's say I purchased the house $100,000 and I want to make a profit of $20,000. Then I have to tell you that my principal is, I purchased the house $100,000 and I need $20,000 as my profits. So if both of you agreed on that, inshallah, the transaction is acceptable from the Sharia perspective. So I hope that this is clear. My brother, my sister in Islam, there are certain principles and rules that governing the Murabahah transaction. Means if we want the Murabahah transaction to be accepted from the Sharia, from the Islamic law perspective, certain principles and rules need to be observed. There are many rules and principles, but we mention only few because we said we want to try to summarize in the subject so that all of us can understand and comprehend easily, insha'Allah ta'ala. So with regard to the subject matter of the sale, the subject matter here, we can say the house or car or any commodity. The subject matter means the house must be exist. The house must be exist. You cannot sell something that doesn't exist. Number two, the house or the car or the commodity must be specifically known and identified to the buyer. So as a buyer, I have to know what I'm buying. Number three, the price of the house, the price of the commodity, the price of the car must be certain. So if the price is uncertain, kind of fluctuating, we don't know how much exactly, then the whole arrangement, the whole Murabahah transactions in this regard is not acceptable from the Sharia perspective. So the price must be certain. If the price is uncertain, so the transaction can be considered as void, not acceptable. Number four, this is very important, very essential in this transaction. The seller of the house must own the house first. Means if I'm selling you a house, I have to own the house first. All the security, the house security, the demand of the house should be transferred to me first. Let's say the bank here. You want to purchase a house from the bank through Murabahah transaction. So the bank has to own the house first. And all the security of the house should be transferred to the bank first, owns the house first, and then we enter into Murabahah, or you enter into Murabahah transaction with the bank. Because from the Islamic law perspective, you cannot sell what you don't own. You cannot sell what you don't have. Because our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tabi' ma laysa 'indak." You don't sell what you don't have. So this is very essential in this transaction, my brothers and sisters in Islam. My brother, my sister in Islam, this type of transaction usually concluded on deferred payment sale or sale on deferred payment, what we call Bai al-Mu'ajjal, where the deferred payment amount becomes a debt, a loan to be paid by the buyer, either in lump sum or in installments. So this kind of transaction usually, as I said, concluded on sale on deferred payment, Bai al-Mu'ajjal. So in this case, certain rules also need to be observed in this case. Number one, the price and the profit. If let's say we are entering into deferred payment arrangement, Bai al-Mu'ajjal, so the price and the profit must be fixed. We have to fix the price of the property, and the profit means must known to both parties at the time of signing the contract, at the time of dealing, at the time of execution the contract. So the price and the profit must be fixed. We cannot just let it like that. No, we have to fix it. It's 100,000 the house, and the profit is 20,000, right? So now the price of the cost of the house is 100,000. The profit is 20,000. then the total is 120,000 that you have to pay me on installment basis. 2, what you call the complete possession of the house. So when a bank sells the house to the client, to the buyer, they sign the agreement and to be paid on installment basis. So the bank has to surrender the house to the buyer to start using it, or has to surrender the car to start using it. Number 3, in order to secure the payment also of the property of the house or the car, the bank or the Islamic financial institution, to secure that the client will honor his payment that is on installment basis, the bank may ask the client to put something as security, to put something as dhaman. So in order to secure the payment of the client to his installment payment. So this also can be done. It's up to the bank to decide whether the bank or the one who is selling the property needs some guarantee, needs some dhaman, needs some security to secure the payments of the client. It's up to the bank or up to the one who is selling to decide that. Also, another aspect of this type of transaction is that when they agreed on installment basis to be paid every month or each month, end of each month you paid, and then the client fails to pay the amount. Let's say fails to pay for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months. In this situation, the bank or the seller has every right to cancel the whole arrangement of installments. Let's say the agreement is that to pay the house in 10 years, and then the client fails to pay the installments as the parties agreed. In this situation, the bank or the seller has every right to cancel the installment arrangement and call for immediate settlement of the total amount. Do we understand? Means you fail to pay your installment as agreed. The bank or the seller has every right to cancel the 10-year arrangement and say, no, now you have to pay me my money, the whole amount that we agreed. Another one also that is very important to understand is that in case the client fails to pay the installment as agreed without any legitimate reason, the bank or the seller has every right to put on him what we call late payment charges. Conventional banks charge interest. Islamically, we said late payment charges. These late payment charges amount, in order for the client to know that if he didn't pay, he will have to pay some amount. From conventional perspective, they will keep that amount, late payment charges, they will keep it as interest for them because you delay in payment. But from Sharia perspective, from Islamic banking perspective, the bank should not keep that amount, what we call late payment amount. We can call it penalty. The bank has no right to keep it from Sharia perspectives. Rather, the bank has to channel that amount to a charity organization under the supervision of its Sharia advisor or Sharia board. So the Islamic Bank will not keep that penalty money, late payment amount or late payment charges. Rather, it will channel it to the Sharia, to a charity organization under the supervision of its Sharia board. What about, somebody may ask, okay, what about we agreed to pay it in 10 years and I decided to pay it in 5 years or 6 years? As we mentioned in the beginning, the price and the profit has to be fixed at the time of signing the agreement, execution of the agreement. But however, if the client decided to pay earlier, early settlement, then the bank, out of its own discretion, or the seller out of his own discretion, he can give a rebate discount to the client because he is paying earlier than agreed. So in this situation, we have what you call a rebate. So the bank can just give him a discount because he's paying earlier. But this one cannot be put as condition in the agreement. It's up to the bank to decide, up to the seller to decide when a client decided to pay early, whether the bank will give rebate it means discount to the client or not. To make it very clear, let's see the amount is 120,000 for 10 years to be paid, and in 5 years the client said, I want to settle this amount. So my profit is 120,000. In that 20,000, I may give some discount for him, for the client. It's up to me to decide. Right? This is the beauty of Islam. So my brother, my sister in Islam, to conclude, the mechanism of Murabahah is simple and straightforward. It's simple and straightforward. So let us just summarize it. You want to own a house, you want to own a car, the Islamic Bank or Islamic financial institution will purchase their house and sell it to you on cost plus profit arrangement, which is Murabahah. From the Islamic law perspective, my brother, my sister, in Islam, the bank, as we mentioned, the bank or the seller is obliged to disclose the cost of the house or of the car and profit margin to you as a client. We have already explained that is part of the requirement. It's one of the very important requirements. Without it, the whole transaction will be considered void, that the bank must, disclose the cost of the property and the profit amount that the bank or the seller intended to charge. So in other words, the Islamic Bank, my brother, my sister in Islam, rather than giving you or giving a client cash on interest basis, in Islamic we don't do that. Rather, the bank will sell you a commodity, a car, a house, and then on Murabahah basis, and then plus profits. This way the bank will earn some amount from that, out of that profit. So the Islamic banks or Islamic financial institutions, rather than giving you money on interest basis or on a loan with interest, the Islamic Bank will sell you something, commodity, car or whatever you want to buy. But in conventional bank, unlike in conventional bank can just give you loan with interest. The important thing to understand, my dear brother and sister in Islam, is that Murabahah is not a loan given on interest basis. Rather, it is a sale, it is a buy, of a commodity at profit. It is something that's lawful, halal. Something lawful and halal. The main difference between, we concluded the main difference between conventional and Islamic in this regard lies in the contract being used by Islamic Bank and conventional bank. In Islamic Bank, we used Murabahah contract. As we explained, it is acceptable, it is halal, whereas the conventional finance facility is an interest-based lending agreement and transactions. I hope all this explanation, inshallah, is clear, and may Allah Ta'ala protect us from eating, dealing, and taking interest, riba, in our life. Barakallahu feekum. هذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.